Hello and welcome to a new Anfield Index special. This is countdown to kick-off, ladies and gentlemen. It is late on Friday evening. Most people, or a lot of people, are in bed, but the thoughts are with the game tomorrow, aren't they? Because tomorrow, 5:30, Saturday the 4th of October, Liverpool will play Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. It is an away fixture. It is a tough one. There's a lot to consider with this, isn't there? I'm your host, Dave Davis, coming to you. Well, it's late at night, isn't it, in Edinburgh? Hopefully you're enjoying your evening so far. Maybe enjoying a drink wherever you are. But for countdown to kick-off, we've got to start with the importance of this, ladies and gents. It's been a terrible week, hasn't it, really? The defeat for Crystal Palace, the abysmal first half, the rally in the second half, and then the ultimate dagger in the heart at the end, a set piece and not defending it again. Then you go to Istanbul and thinking, okay, chance to show a bit. Wasn't really too much to crow about, was there, in all honesty? And this game seems to have taken on extra significance because of that backdrop. If you win, a lot of things will get forgotten. Be honest, even if we don't play that well, there'll be a bit of, right, okay, we've got to that international break because this is the last game before the international break and we're okay. If you draw, you'll likely be level on points with Arsenal, you suspect, at the top of the Premier League. And, you know, it's 3 games without a victory in a week. If you lose, you know the reaction across the board is going to be absolutely toxic. And if we lose, it was right, or it would be right to have questions, wouldn't it? 3 defeats in a week. This game seems to have taken on more importance than ever. Not really calming the late night nerves, am I, in all honesty? But yeah, there's no other way of describing this at all. We've always got to look at what we can see going into this. So when we talk about the matches, when we talk about the table and the form, I mean, as we say, 5:30, Arsenal are playing earlier in the day. So you know they'll be tops. There'll be that extra ratchet of pressure on this one. Even a decent warm-up, to be fair, if you bit of football early in the day. 12:30, the early kickoff, Leeds Spurs. But Sky Sports is where you're watching this one. 5:30. After all, the 3 o'clocks, some random other team down the East Lancs are playing at the same time as well. In terms of form, it's a funny one with Chelsea because when you look at their last 5, 1-2, drawn 1, lost 2. And they've lost their last 2. So people will, I won't say fixate, but jump on that. But you have to think that 2-1 defeat at Old Trafford, Sanchez with a galaxy brain decision, isn't he? He comes out and, you know, completely, and I mean completely, wipes out Wemo going through. The Brighton Hove Albion game at home, a 3-1 defeat. You can be hopeful with that. But Trevor Chalobah sent off, so suspended for this one. So there's that to consider. With us, there's been victories, which has been great. There's been the manner of the victories. Probably if you look at our last 5, it's Everton that's been the standout there. But it's that big red mark, isn't it? That Crystal Palace away defeat, 2-1, the last-minute set-piece goals. So both teams, form-wise, are coming off the back of a loss in the Premier League. Chelsea, 2. However, they've got 10 men to refer back to. We haven't. In terms of the table, it still looks nice to see us top, even if the gap is only now 2 points. But played 6, won 5, lost 1, 12 goals for, 7 goals against, a goal difference of a positive 5 for Liverpool, 15 points. For Chelsea, you have to scroll down a bit lower. It's got to be said, 8th place. Played 6, won 2, drawn 2, lost 2. Scored goals, 11 of them, but shipped goals as well, 8. Although, as we said, 3 of those have just come in that game against Brighton. So a positive goal difference of 3. Can we call Chelsea mid-table? That is what they are right now. However, it is only 6 games in, as we know. Now, head coach-wise, people, there's a lot made of Arne Slot's press conference. Now, there was different comments online earlier, wasn't there? It was only about 30 minutes long. He was asked some good questions, I thought, around Salah, Konate, recent form, the right-back situation, things we probably want to know right now. Didn't give too much detail, but did give us the all-important injury update, which is crucial. And also Enzo Maresca. He had a lot to say. He talked about his injuries, but there was something, to be fair to Enzo Maresca, that was classy in what he said. And normally, let's be honest, when we talk about Chelsea, we don't talk about anything remotely classy. So let's just have a listen and a watch to what these two head coaches said. Let's start with Arne Slot and his injury updates first of all.
TK and Federico Chiesa as well.
Yeah, Alisson is not part of the squad tomorrow, and he's not going to travel to Brussels as well for the national team. So he will be out for Saturday. Hugo is going to train today again, and let's see where he is. And the same can be said for Federico. So we have to wait and see after the session where they exactly are.
Any idea on the timescale for Alisson, just how serious the hamstring injury is?
Yeah, that depends also on. So it's that he's not there. Saturday is clear he's not going to play for Brazil, and I would be surprised if he would be there in the first game after the international break. But from there on, sometimes things can go a bit faster or a bit slower. So it's always difficult to say the amount of days and weeks. But for the upcoming games, he will not be part of us or the Brazil team.
This portable heat.
Well, we don't need to hear about the portable heat blaster. We know that Alisson is going to be out, and it seems like 6 weeks, doesn't it? The main part that Arne Slot talked about, which was a big positive, Chiesa and Ekitike are back in training. Are they going to be fit, fully fit? That is a different discussion, but it was positive to talk about that at the same time. Now, Enzo Maresca talked to you a bit about his injuries, but I'm going to give the man his due for this countdown to kick off. Let's just have a listen to what he said about Liverpool and our situation we find ourselves in currently.
I don't think that now it's better to play Liverpool just because they draw points in the last 2 games. It's always a tough game, always a big team. For me personally, the way they are doing this season is, in any case, is fantastic, especially after Jota tragedy. I live exactly the same when I was player 20 years ago, and it's not easy for the players, it's not easy for the club, it's not easy for the manager when you arrive at the training ground and you see every day that place empty. So you have to be very strong, and this is the reason why for me they are doing not good, even better than good, even more, because they are trying to deal with the problem that is not easy.
Never thought I would say this about Chelsea, but a bit of class from the head coach there as well. Someone who, as he said, has been through this type of situation personally, not easy. And for all the backdrops, the thoughts, the opinions that are shared on social media, it is almost important to remember at times just what these players, what we've been through as fans. So let's give Maresca his due in what he said. A touch of class from the man there. In terms of head-to-head, this seems an absolutely insane statement. But if you take away the Carabao Cup, do you remember when Tsimikas crossed it and Virgil heads it in? I was there. What an insane day that was. We can't really class that as an away victory because it was a neutral venue, of course, Wembley. Anyone remember the last time we won in the league at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, you have to go all the way back to September the 20th, 2020. And maybe, just maybe, the fact that I'm saying that number, 20, September the 20th, 2020, the mention of Diogo Jota, maybe it is a positive omen. Who knows? But in terms of head-to-head, yeah, if we won't go through the full reading, but it doesn't look too positive, in terms of history. However, here's what I wanted to give you. Let me give you this, people. Put this on screen for you. When you look at the stats from this season, both in terms of attacking and in terms of defensive-wise, just have a look at these. So both teams in the Premier League have played 6 games. We've got 12 goals to their 11. Shots on target, quite similar as well. 28 to 26. Their shooting accuracy is better on 55%, and their conversion rate's better. Seems like a familiar old story, Liverpool's conversion rate, although we are slightly better at assists at the same time. Defensive-wise, when you move that on, yeah, maybe not as bad as you think, although I get it's been the 3-1 defeat for them with 10 men, but we've conceded 1 goal less, same amount of clean sheets. They've faced more shots, won more tackles. The tackle success rate does favour us. Look at that for Jules 1. 310 to 311, practically identical. And in fact, Jules' success rate as well, practically identical. 52.1 for Chelsea, 52.6 for us. Insane, eh? When you think about it that way, how the stats aren't that different. Now, with head-to-head, we should mention as well the players that Chelsea have out. So Cole Palmer injured, we know. Tosin Adebayor injured, we know. Trevor Chalobah suspended. Fofana out with injury. So centre-half-wise, it will be a case of Chelsea fans saying, as you know, we're short at the back. But don't let them fool you, because Badiashile's back in from out the bomb squad. He played in the Champions League midweek against Benfica. Jarell Hato still there as well. Caicedo could even move to centre-back as well. So all that comes into the mix at the same time. How about some stats for you as well? See if you like this, because we are aiming to sort of end a run of 4 visits to Stamford Bridge without us winning. 3 draws, 1 defeat. If you remember last season. Do you remember last season, though? Just in case you don't, let me give you a little bit of a reminder. We were champions, people. We were champions. And if you forgot, do you remember this? Do you remember when the away end was bouncing, singing champions, bought the inflatable trophies, and even Virgil, even though we were getting peppered, it was 2-0 down, scores from a set piece. We'll kind of ignore that Kwanzaa gave away a penalty shortly afterwards. But that was the last game. Beat them 2-1 as well, didn't we? At home, Curtis Jones with the winner, having marked Cole Palmer out the game. Do you remember the build-up that was being given to him? So those were the head-to-heads last season. Also, a few stats that you might like. We're aiming to avoid losing consecutive top-flight matches for the first time since April 2023. Slot's never done it. Let's hope he doesn't. And our record just before going into these international breaks, in fact, if you go into each of the last 5 or rewind back to each of the last 5, pretty good. It's been a victory. And if you want to check back, pretty much a clean sheet in all of those as well. Is that a good omen at the same time? Christ, I hope so. I really do. And finally, for Countdown to kick off, what is my lineup? Now, Arne Slot's going to listen to me. Of course he's not. He's got more sense than that. You probably will disagree with my lineup, but there's big question marks around certain players, isn't there? There's got to be question marks around Konate. 2 stinkers back to back. A good performance has been the rarity this season. All over the place is a phrase that you keep hearing. So he's in consideration. This right back scenario. So Bosley played there. He's not even a right back. Is that because Slot doesn't trust Bradley and Frimpong? Kirkes attached to the hip of Virgil van Dijk. It's not what we bought him for. It's not at least what we thought we bought him for at the same time. That midfield, Florian Wirtz is a 10. Not his fault necessarily, but what does that do for balance? What about that Everton game where it did look balanced? That forward questions galore, isn't there? Cody Gakpo's form. Is Ekitike fit enough? Well, here's my lineup, people, and the way I see it. This is what I would do tomorrow. Will Arne Slot agree? I'm not fully sure, but Marmadashvili is, of course, going to be in nets. I think we just abandoned the Szoboszlai at right-back experiment. Liverpool should be beyond experimenting. I know they've got to work things out, but I would rather have, like we did at Everton, the strength in midfield. The OGs, the 3 amigos from last season, Gravenberch, McAllister and Szoboszlai. And I know you're going to jump and say McAllister's been poor, but he's got to play his way into form, hasn't he? So there's that. But dropping back to defence, which is where you're probably raising your most eyebrows, Connor Bradley, right back for me. Milos Kirkes, keep him at left back. But do let them go at times. Do let them progress the ball that way. Of course, Virgil's in the centre. I don't think he will, but I would bring in Joe Gomez for this. Joe Gomez is not a progressive monster. Do you know, Joe Gomez hasn't had brilliance from everything we've seen, and people will look to that centre-back performance in the Carabao against Southampton, but can't be any worse than Konate at the moment, and he is a better passer of the ball, with progression being the key theme. In terms of the attack as well, just because there might be a quote-unquote minor niggle around Federico Chiesa, who would have been my choice, Florian Wirtz on the left. We saw it, didn't we? We saw it against Galatasaray, that cross where Connor Bradley should have buried it, really. We saw the lofted through ball for Alexander Isak to run onto and get that shot. One of his total 4 touches in that game. Salah on the right. Now, some of you won't like this. And if I was convinced Ekitike was 100% fit, he would start for me. But just based on what Slot was saying, I'm not going to take any risks in this one. And at some point, you pay 125 million for the man. You are going to have to start him. Yes, Ekitike, is the informed attacker right now. But just based on all those things, that's my lineup. Marmadashvili, Bradley, Gomez, Van Dijk, Kirkes, Gravenberch, McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Florian Wirtz, Mo Salah, Alexander Isak up top. No doubt all of you will completely disagree with that. But there we go, people. 4th of October, 5:30 UK time. Sky Sports, UK TV. Obviously, I don't know how it works abroad, but that is where we'll be watching. This is a massive game. Let's not undersell it for 1 single second. Just win. Honest to just win. Don't need to worry too much about playing well, but a win and no injuries. Let's not pretend you wouldn't snap everyone's hand off for it. It's late on a Friday night. I know what I'll be going to bed thinking about. And on Friday, the 3rd of October, that was a countdown to kick off